Hey everyone, welcome to TN Sports Chat. I'm Patrick Matsinko. This is Emmett McCall. We're nearing the end of the season, and we got a little bit of a taste of the postseason, I guess, on the wrestling front this past week with the district team championships, which were held on Thursday and Saturday. Several of our teams were involved, four to be exact. All four made it through Thursday, competed on Saturday. And all four picked up at least one win. Northwestern made it through to the consolation final, won that match, went 3-1 in the tournament. Tamaqua wrestled real well, went 2-2, and Lehigh and Panther Valley both went 1-2. So again, though, it's extra mat time, more matches for these teams in preparation for that individual district tournament, which will be here before you know it at the end of the month.
Nice for Panther Valley and Tamaqua. They both were in a situation Thursday where if they would have lost their first match, they were out. So they both got that nice win to advance to Saturday. And like you said, they all four teams got a lot of wrestling in this weekend.
Yeah, and I think too the other thing that maybe was sort of a takeaway for all four of our teams is that, some guys are banged up. Guys are out of the lineup. You're kind of mixing and matching in the lineup. And in some ways it's good because you get some younger guys in there that get some extra mat time.
Depth.
Yeah, and then they get that experience. But I think, too, teams are kind of also looking forward to maybe getting healthy ahead of, in the next couple of weeks. And the schedule does lighten up. We don't have a ton of action before districts.
Right, not many dual meets scheduled this week.
Right.
Dual matches, and then next week, very limited amount. And
it's
then
the same kind of deal, yeah.
Then we go into individuals right after that.
Yeah, so that was, one of the takeaways, I guess, or some of the takeaway, I guess, out of the district team championships. Everybody was, I guess, thankful and certainly, definitely tries to make the most of the opportunity to get those extra matches, but at the same time also kind of trying to heal up before the end of the season. So
I think no surprises. The champions, Becca won 3A again. Saucon Valley, who's been really good this year, dominating the 2A level. They won the 2A. So no surprises there. The runner-up teams get to go out to states as well. And what do we had in AA? It was Wilson
which
beat
was
Notre Dame, Northwestern.
And that was kind of an upset in some ways because Northwestern had knocked off Wilson in the Colonial League tournament. But again, Northwestern has some guys out of the lineup. Some things go Wilson's way, and even Jim Mole, Northwestern head coach, said Wilson wrestled a really tough match, and they earned it. I don't think anybody wants to try to take anything away from those teams that, they just got lucky. I don't think that was the case at all. They definitely earned it and wrestled really well to get into that second place spot. So
and AAA Nazareth advanced as the second place team, and when you look at District 11 wrestling, AA, AAA. That's the hotbed of wrestling in the state. So even the second place teams have a chance to make some noise and get to Hershey.
And you look at Becca and Nazareth, and those are two teams that wrestled for the 3A state title last year. Right. So you're wrestling for EPC title, District 11 title, and then a PIAA championship.
And it wouldn't be a big surprise if the same thing happened this year.
Yeah. So they're both top teams in the state, not just in the district. So we'll see how things shake out moving forward. Not many matches. Pocono Mountain East and Tamaqua are scheduled to wrestle later on this week. We're supposed to have some matches tonight, but obviously the weather...
Not going to happen.
Yeah. So, and a couple of those would have been interesting, but we'll have to, I guess, kind of wait and get those at a later date. But
and I want to give a shout out to the Tamaqua wrestling team. I mean, we talked about Northwestern, who finished third and had a really good showing, but for Tamaqua to win 2 matches in this tournament, was the first time they even qualified for districts in
several. Gart Lakitsky's senior year, I think, is what Jim McCabe, head coach, had told me, that Tamaqua had even qualified for this tournament.
And last year they were forfeiting multiple matches, and they've got a little deeper. Got a lot better, and to make it as far as they did in the district team tournament is impressive.
And talking to Jim McCabe afterward, you could kind of sense this sort of enthusiasm, I think, for him. Now he's back after an absence as a head coach.
A lot of young talent in the program.
So it seems like they're definitely excited and eager to take another step next year, which they certainly look primed to do. So, but that's kind of everything on the wrestling front. So as that sort of maybe winds down, basketball is definitely picking up.
Well, we talked about it last week. It's going to be a really exciting time in basketball, and it kind of lived up to those expectations this past week. We had 4 more times news area teams clinch District 11 berths since our last week's show. That brings our total up to 13 now. 13 teams with
That's
4 more. 4 more still can get in this final week yet. So, but last week we had the Pleasant Valley boys and girls both clinched on Friday night, and then Northern Lehigh boys clinched Monday night, and Tamaqua girls on Tuesday night. But Pleasant Valley, let's start with them. Boys and girls both clinched. They had a doubleheader, the boys-girls doubleheader on Friday at Stroudsburg. Probably one of the most exciting doubleheaders that we've had in this area in quite a while. Both teams needed to win to clinch districts. Both teams got it. The girls upset a 16-3 Stroudsburg team. The boys beat a Stroudsburg team that they had lost 7 straight games to. So a lot of excitement that night in Broadheadsville.
Yeah, and I think for Pleasant Valley boys, this will be the first district appearance for head coach Matt Gold since he took over the program a couple of years ago. So former player, obviously. Has that program certainly moving forward, and for the girls team, Nadia Goronsky, they're a staple, I guess you would say that. You know,
every year.
EPC, Mountain Valley, you know, District 11, they're always in the mix in the postseason. So it's kind of no surprise that she had them ready to go in what was almost a must-win game for that team. So
boys, Isaiah Howard had 2 big free throws in the last couple seconds to ice the game. He had 10 points. Deshaun Scarborough had 10 points. They both have been playing really well for them all season. Girls game, they had Cameron Caffrey returned. She missed 6 games with an injury, came back, led them with 13 points. Yeah, Coach Goronsky called her out after the game, you know, just being a key to the victory.
I mean, she had, just to think about the game against Lehigh earlier this year, she had those free throws late where it tied the game, sent it to overtime, and again, only a sophomore, and she's been a key cog in that lineup, you know, for the last now 2 years.
Right, and then you have Brianna Clark has played well, Masani Francis, our tennis player of the year, grade 2 sport athletes, played well, Madison Rosenberg's played well, because you lose somebody like Caffrey, who's probably your best, if not the best player, one of the best. You lose her for 6 games, and Pleasant Valley didn't go in the tank. They still managed to win some games and keep alive their district hopes, and then they qualified.
And those other girls get experience too, where you're mixing and matching different lineups and different rotations, and those other girls are getting playing time ahead of the postseason, and obviously it pays dividends, you know, going forward. So.
And then we talked about Northern Lehigh. They qualified. They beat Salisbury 47-40 on Monday night. I guess Coach Jeff Miller, he might have been starting to sweat it out a little. They were 10-7 at one point. They had lost 3 straight. They got to 10-10, so it was kind of running out of time. But a really nice win for them against Salisbury. Really nice bounce back season. Yeah, and I think Northern Lehigh only had 4 or 5 wins last year, so it was a really nice bounce back season for them. Preston Kemery had 11 points in that game. Brandon Hess had 11 points. Gio Cologne and Robert Schaff have both played well this year. They both contributed to that game. So Bulldogs are in.
And again, there's another team that it seems like, you know, kind of going through box scores each night. It seems like they have nights like that where you're getting double figures from multiple guys. It might not be one guy with 25 or 30, but you're going to maybe get that 10 to 12 from 4 or maybe, you know, 3, 4, 5 guys. So again, a very balanced lineup for Northern Lehigh, it seems like.
Right, and then last night you covered the game. Tamaqua girls were the 4th team this week to qualify for us. They beat Jim Thorpe.
Beat Jim Thorpe, 2nd time this year that they beat Jim Thorpe. Senior night at Tamaqua, where they honored...
Not much going on at senior night in Tamaqua.
No, Kirsten Jones is the only senior, but she is huge for them. She had a double-double against Jim Thorpe.
We don't keep official rebounding stats, and we don't get all the teams' rebounding stats here, but I would be willing to bet she's got to be the leading rebounder in the area. She has double figures in rebounds every game.
And she's been, I think it's, you know, that's been the case as far as, you know, her and Tamaqua for the last probably year or 2, where she's been one of their best on the boards, and she just makes her presence felt, and she did it again against Jim Thorpe. And Emma Kaczynski played another phenomenal game.
One of the leading scorers in the area.
Yeah, and really keyed that team to victory against Jim Thorpe. And I had a chance to catch up with both Emma and Kirsten afterward.
It's very exciting to know that our hard work and dedication this season really paid off, and we knew coming in that we needed one more win, so we're just happy to get it.
It means so much because we worked hard for this all season, and we finally clinched, and it's really exciting.
We knew Jim Thorpe was going to be a great competitor coming in, they always are, so we're just really looking to buckle down on defense and get some good offensive possessions.
We know they're a tough team, so we know we had to play strong defense, have teamwork, hustle. I was really excited to play this game because I knew it was my last game on the floor, and I had to play everything I had in me.
Kirsten's a great player and even better friend. I always love having her on the team, and she's just a great aspect for us to have, defense, offensively, and everything. We're hoping to go into the next game against Pontsville, hopefully get that win, and then just carry the momentum going into districts.
That was Emma and Kirsten talking about the victory over Jim Thorpe, which sent the Blue Raiders into the District 11 playoffs. And now it's kind of getting ready for that second season in a lot of ways.
Right, and we had those exciting games we talked about last week that clinched district berths for teams, or earlier this week. But coming up in the next day, we have two big games coming up, two big rival games.
Yeah.
One has district implication, one has league implications. You're going to see great crowds, should see great basketball. Thursday night, Marion is at Panther Valley. Panther Valley with a one-game lead in Division III of the Schuylkill League. If they win, they clinch the division. It's a season finale, regular season finale for both teams. If Marion would win, then they'll force a playoff game, and Panther Valley and Marion would have to have a playoff next week to determine that Division III champ and a berth in the Schuylkill League playoffs.
And I think you just say Panther Valley Marion, it kind of ends right there.
Any
doesn't
sport,
it? Yeah.
any records,
Yeah.
you know, really throw out the records. That's true in that rivalry. And this year you don't have to throw out the records because they both
Just
have good records.
Amps up the intensity, and
I heard the first game they played, it was packed house, great student sections. Panther Valley has their black hole student section, and I don't know if Marion has a name.
They travel well though, but that's all I know.
Patton's Army.
Yeah, that would
get
work.
That?
I do.
John Patton, coach, General Patton, World War II. Yeah.
Very clever. Very clever.
We'll just name student groups for you.
We could do Patton's Army, but just if anybody's looking for any suggestions, but they do travel well though. I don't think it matters the sport. Marion students, fans always certainly seem to travel very well, and
I think it's going to be a packed house at Panther Valley, and hopefully
get there early.
Get a game like they had last time. Panther Valley won in in overtime. They won, so should be exciting.
Yeah, and we have another rivalry game that you were kind of mentioning too, Northern Lehigh.
And this, if Marion Panther Valley is one of the top 2 or 3 rivalries in the area, this is battling Panther Valley Marion for number one.
Yeah.
Palmerton and Northern Lehigh will be playing at Palmerton. Girls boys doubleheader Thursday. The girls game could have some implications. Neither Palmerton or Northern Lehigh will finish above 500, but because there are 8 spots to fill in that Class 3A field, it goes by rating points, and the winner of this game might be that 8th place team and get in on rating points.
And again, I think we talked about it before about just throwing the records out the window. It's going to be an intense game to begin with, but when there's that sort of hint, when you can sort of smell the postseason, if you get a victory, that's just going to make things even more interesting.
And the first time they played, Northern Lehigh had a huge 15-point halftime lead, and Palmerton rallied in the second half to pull it out. So I think we're going to see another great one there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the boys game, second game, Northern Lehigh, we talked about, clinched their district berth on Monday. Palmerton's regular season finale, winning they're in, losing they're out.
Yeah.
How much more exciting can it get than that?
And I mean, again, we've talked about Ken Termini and the way he has his guys playing all season, and here they are. They're at the end of the season, a chance. They control their own destiny. I mean, to be able to get into the postseason with a victory. Obviously, I think regardless of whether Northern Lehigh has made it or not, they're not going to make it easy on them or try to do them any favors to help them.
They might be more excited to knock Palmerton out than when they made it themselves.
So. You get a chance to clinch and you're in, but now you have a chance to keep out one of your chief rivals.
Right.
So,
Nate Doherty, Justin Hosier have been Palmerton's top 2 scorers all year. Ryan Yacone, Cody Kratzer have both been key contributors. We talked about the Northern Lehigh players already. So expecting a really good game on Thursday. Both sides.
So Thursday is kind of, I know we have Big Monday and Super Tuesday in college basketball, but we have a pretty nice Thursday shaping up in the Times News area. So
grab Friday's Times News, get all the photo stories, and find out all about that.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty awesome. And I know Rich Strack has also been kind of working on a story for us as far as the postseason goes about Martz Hall, which is the Mecca.
Appeared in today's Times News. Really good story, talking about some of the great players that have played there in years past. And when you get to this time of the year, you're looking Schuylkill League playoffs, District 11 playoffs, state playoffs. The one site that jumps out to everybody is, I want to play at Martz. I want to be at the Mecca. And Rich talks about that. Talked to a couple of players who played there in the past, and they're trying to get their teams possibly there.
Yeah.
So good story. Check it out.
Yeah. So be sure to pick up a copy of today's Times News to check that out. But so by the time we do this next week, we'll know more or less where everybody stands and what we have, hopefully. So
we do have one more thing. The Colonial League starts their basketball playoffs this weekend. They start Saturday. Northwestern girls have qualified. They're the number 3 seed. They're going to get a home game on Saturday. If they advance to that, then those semifinals are Tuesday. But Northwestern girls, year in, year out, we were talking about Pleasant Valley girls are always there. Chris Deutsch at Northwestern always has his team, districts, leagues, always in the battle.
Yeah, I mean, Abby Shizdak, Leanna Lister, Gabby Severine, Sydney Severine, just kind of thinking of some girls that have been key parts of that lineup and that rotation throughout the season and in years past as well. So, again, in the league playoffs, and certainly going to be a force once we hit districts.
Right.
But, so I think that's kind of everything.
An exciting week.
Yeah, so it'll be almost the calm before the storm where we get into districts, and then we'll see exactly how many teams we have. But it certainly looks like we're going to have a lot to look forward to in the postseason.
Yeah,
so
should be exciting.
So I think that's everything for this week. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we covered it all, Patrick.
Sounds good. Rapid fire.
Except our new banner. We didn't.
Oh, we do have a new banner.
We have a new banner.
And,
thanks to the Times News Job Shop.
And
put this up here for us.
Very nice. Certainly very, very fancy, very bright. Hopefully it looks nice coming through on the phone, but yeah, certainly very appreciative. I think we've probably quadrupled or at least tripled the old banner, and I know they have some other things for us out there too. That
Lehigh Valley Health Network has been a great sponsor for us. They sponsor this podcast. They're going to sponsor some games of the week when we get to football season. So we like to give them a shout out. Thanks a lot. Yeah,
and thanks again for everybody for your support. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, certainly open to feedback. Feel free to comment, message, email, call. Whatever is most convenient for you, but thank you as always for all of your support. So I think that's everything though for this week. So for Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko. Thank you again for joining TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.